It's Thursday, June 24th, 2021. I want to get right into it today. A lot happening. As most of you have probably already heard, we got the jobless claims this morning. First time U.S. jobless claims, 411,000. Think about that for a minute. 411,000 Americans last week filed first-time jobless claims, and yet we're being told on a daily basis that this is an epic recovery. It's a V-shaped recovery. Everything is just going incredibly well. I was watching the television earlier today, Fox Business. Nobody even talked about this number. Nobody even cares. The markets don't care. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that you're losing your jobs. Nobody cares that your economy is plunging into a massive depression. These markets don't care. All they care about is the Fed and how much is the Fed going to inject into the markets to keep them alive. More bad news equals good news for Wall Street. But again, this is an epic number. 411,000 Americans filed first-time jobless claims last week. And yet Dow Jones up today, S&P a record. And it's just another example of just how manipulated these markets are and how far off the rails we are now. And this just reinforces with me, and I'm sure with you, that this crash is going to be worse than we ever thought it was going to be. The longer this goes on, the worse this crash is going to be. But again, these numbers are staggering to think that now a second week in a row of over 400,000 first-time jobless claims. But it's reality, ladies and gentlemen, and this is why all of you better be preparing. I mean, I went online. I had to search for the jobless claims. The television doesn't want to talk about it. I went on CNBC's website. Couldn't find it. I had to actually physically punch it in to find it. They don't want to talk about this. They don't want to tell you about this. They want to just tell you about teddy bears and rainbows and puffy white clouds and why you need to be investing in these markets. Wow, millions are going to lose their jobs, and wow, we're going to sit and watch this economy plunge even deeper into a depression. It's very scary times, ladies and gentlemen. We've never been in a time in our history that it's been this dangerous. And this is why I hold gold. This is why I hold silver. This is why I'm putting cash away. This is why I'm not making any big ticket purchases. This is why I'm applying patience. And this is a time now where you have to be extremely cautious. I read a really good article today on the hedge. It's titled, "It Always Ends the Same Way, Crisis, Crash, Collapse." This was authored by Charles Hugh Smith. I'm going to paraphrase through this article. If you get a couple minutes, check it out. Risk has not been extinguished. It is expanding geometrically beneath the false stability of a monstrously manipulated market. 411,000 Americans, again, filed first-time unemployment last week. S&P 500 closed at a record today. Dow Jones up over 320 points. Misinformation, deception, manipulation, distortions, mispricing, delusions, all this has caused dysfunctional markets. As Mike Tyson once eloquently put it, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And people are about to get punched in the mouth, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to learn a lesson here. They believe that everything's going to be okay. The Fed's never going to let them down. They can't lose. But they're going to take one to the mouth, and they're not going to know what to do. And this is when panic hits. At the moment in history, the plan most market participants is to place their full faith and trust in the status quo. Ability to keep asset prices lofting even higher, essentially forever. People are delusional. They really do believe in Santa Claus. They believe that this is going to go on forever. They believe this will be the first bubble that never bursts. The vast majority of investors are convinced they will never suffer the indignity of getting punched in the mouth by a market crash. Most of these people, especially the Robin Hooders, have no perception of history. Massively distorted markets always end the same way: crisis, crash, and collapse. The core dynamic here is distorted markets provide false feedback and misleading information, which lead the participants to make catastrophically misguided decisions. Just turn on the television and listen to these economists, these analysts, these people in the $3,000 suits telling you everything's good. You're unintelligent if you're not jumping in these markets. If you're not gambling in the cryptos, there's something wrong with you. This is easy money. Jump in. It's guaranteed. The bubble's never going to burst. Run up the credit card. Go buy a house. Go buy a car. Borrow whatever you have to invest in these markets. If you are making investments on poor information and manipulation, don't be surprised when you end up poor. No one in these $3,000 suits on the television is going to tell you that these markets are rigged or manipulated. Quite the opposite. They won't tell you the truth. They're going to tell you that the markets are transparent and that they're stable. A full-blown lie. Here's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Risk is skyrocketing beneath the surface of the artificial stability because the market has been stripped of mechanisms of dynamic stability. They are suppressing the volatility. And the question is, how long can they continue to suppress the volatility? How much longer can they do this? At some point, they will not be able to do this. And when that day happens, we are going to see panic, we're going to see chaos, and we're going to see things collapse. There's an illusion of liquidity. They lead you to believe that the market will always have a bid. No matter how many billions of dollars of securities you want to sell, there will always be a bid for your shares. In actual fact, the bid is paper thin and it vanishes altogether once selling rises above very low levels. The illusion of low risk essentially guarantees gains for those who increase their positions, and near infinite liquidity generate overwhelming incentives to borrow more and leverage it to the hilt to maximize gains. Investors have become delusional, believing that there is no risk and that the gains at this point are guaranteed. They believe the Fed will never let the markets decline ever. Think about that, how delusional this is. Risk has been disconnected from consequence. This is why distorted, manipulated markets always end the same way: crisis, crash, collapse. I wanted to share that with you because I believe it is 100% spot on. It's a great, great article. And if you get a chance, check it out. But watching these markets today, when you lose another 411,000 jobs, these markets should have collapsed. But they didn't. Why? Because they're manipulated. They're rigged. And people are delusional for believing everything they're being told, that there's no volatility, the Fed is not going to let anything bad happen, that we're going to inflate this bubble forever, it can never burst. People are being misled. They're being led right off the cliff. And millions are going to pay the ultimate price here. They're going to be wiped out. Here's an article today on CNBC. The top 1% of Americans have about 16 times more wealth than the bottom 50%. That on CNBC today. Think about that. Isn't everything going great? Millions of people out of work. I continue to see more businesses shuttering, closing forever, permanently done, gone, and more on the way. And I read an article like this: the top 1% of Americans have about 16 times more wealth than the bottom 50%. And yet people will say there's no such thing as a wealth transfer. There's no wealth inequality. There's no opportunity inequality. All this is extremely disturbing, and it just is not getting better. Again, more businesses are closing. Every time I go out, I see another store, another restaurant closed down. And this wealth transfer, this wealth inequality continues to expand. And we are living in the greatest illusion that we have ever seen in history. The television continues to tell everybody things are great. Larry Kudlow will come out and tell you that the economy is booming. Millions and millions of jobs out there. But, if you want to work 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week, there's a job for you. But you're going to need 2 or 3 of these jobs, and you probably won't even make ends meet. People are drowning in debt. That's reality. The type of jobs out there, low wage, low paying, low hours. And the ships keep piling up at the port, bringing in more cheap products so people can continue to buy things made in other countries. One last thing I want to share, and I don't have the article in front of me, but I was reading that 49%, I believe that was the number, 49% of all the stimulus checks that were sent out, all that stimulus money, 48% of those stimulus checks went into the stock market. People ask me what's propping up the market. Well, of course, it's all this money printing by the Fed, right? All the money printing, all the debt creation by the Fed being injected into the markets. But also, 48% of those stimulus checks went into the stock market. It's unbelievable what is going on. And now we're watching corporate buybacks coming back, going to push these stock prices higher. Nothing is real anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing's real. And this is why these markets must crash. And this is why these markets will crash. And this is why we will have a crisis. This is why we are going to see a depression. And this is why so many people are going to get wiped out, because they're believing the illusion every day. And people are walking around like zombies, completely delusional about what's really happening. They're delusional. They don't even know what reality is anymore. And most people just don't even know what to believe. They're so misled and brainwashed. So be cautious out there. A lot happening. The job market is absolutely being destroyed. And I pray for all those people who have lost jobs, have families to take care of. The rent moratorium has been extended yet again for 1 more month. They said this is it. CDC says this is it. This will be the last one. 1 more month. So I think reality is coming. The rubber will meet the road, ladies and gentlemen. Reality is coming. They can only extend for so long. The bills have to be paid. But the damage that we're doing to our currency, the damage that we're doing paying people to sit at home, not to produce, not to make anything, not to manufacture anything, while countries keep showing up at the ports out here in LA, dropping off tons of containers full of cheaply made products and returning back to Asia empty to load up and come back so people can spend those unemployment checks and those stimulus checks and the government subsidy, making other countries wealthier, and the 1% here extremely wealthy. I mean, just think about the 1% have more than the bottom 50%. That's absolutely repulsive, what's happening here. I was watching Fox Business yesterday, and they were talking about all the millionaires being made here in America. Well, who's paying the price? The top 1% keep getting wealthier and wealthier. The middle class is being decimated, the lower middle class decimated, and the poor absolutely being vaporized. So it's great that we're creating more millionaires in America, but we're paying a huge price here with our economy, with our middle class, with our poor, and it's going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen. And I wish I had better news. It gives me no satisfaction reporting this news to all of you. I do this because I don't want to see you get hurt. I want you to continue to prepare, and I want you to be aware of what's going on. I don't want you to be a victim of this collapse. I don't want you to be a statistic of this collapse. People are going to lose it all. They're going to be wiped out. People are headed for the streets. They don't have the survival skills. They don't have the ability to survive. Most people now really don't even have any type of skill set to even get out of the hole that they're in. And people are going to learn a very, very valuable lesson. And there's people right now, I'm telling you, that are driving nice cars, posting on Facebook, you know, sitting out by the pool with a Mai Tai. Life is good. Everything's going great. These same people, 6 months from now, they're going to be in trouble. A lot of them are going to be in trouble. And I don't want you to be one of those people. And I don't want to be one of those people. Anybody can lose a job tomorrow. Anybody can lose a job next week, next month, next year. You need to be preparing for the worst case scenario. Have the cash reserve, have tangible assets, have security, have some food and water, and I promise you, you're going to sleep so much better at night. And most of all, get your debts paid off. God bless. Talk to all of you soon.